Could you talk about the Wake Forest offense, and is there a certain different way to defend that slow mesh option?
Yeah, there's you see a lot of different people, throw some different pitches at it, I guess so to say. It really does force you to play a really, really long down. The combos hang on your down guys. The guys on the edge aren't exactly sure what to do. When it looks like run, you're getting some of those base blocks. So it's definitely a little bit of a change up pitch. Not something we normally play against, but we've watched a ton of film on it. I think we've given all our guys several different looks at the pitches that I think we can handle that type of play. But they're gonna have to feel it out. They're gonna have to feel it out a little bit. The tempo, how deep that mesh and that ride goes into the line of scrimmage, and it'll be good to get a couple of them in there and for the guys to get a sense of it. But overall, I think they're a very balanced offense. Number one, the running back, I think, is a very, very talented player. The things he can do, the types of talent that he has, he's pretty quick. He can spin off tackles. I think there's some acceleration in there. So he's definitely a guy that we're concerned about.
Matt Reno, Rivals.
Yeah, obviously you guys were without Cade in that last game, and Hunter and Liam were able to come in. What did you think of how they played, and how would you assess how they did?
I thought they did excellent. We rotated them basically every other series. The way they played is what the expectation is. Those guys are both experienced players. Hunter's been here for several years. He's one of our finest special teams player, and he's done a good job in practice in preparing himself for those situations. And Liam is exactly the reason why he is here. He has an extensive background, played a ton of football, Princeton. So the amount of plays and coming into that situation, I don't think is anything foreign to him. So I thought those guys did a great job. When they had their opportunities, come in and really did a nice job and made several plays. Were very active, making some tackles. So it was good to see.
Jeff Rado, Cowbears on that side.
Yeah, I wonder if you can just talk about the improvement you've made from a year ago. If you saw this coming, you've been, other than maybe a couple of quarters, your defense has played extremely well most of the year. What's been the key to that turnaround, and did you see this happening?
I think as a coach, you're always optimistic I thought the guys that we brought in, I think have been substantial upgrades, it really at every level. I think Marcus Harris has been a big upgrade for us. He's helped us a lot. Aiden Kiana TJ Bowlers coming in has given us significant reps inside. Teddy Buchanan, Liam Johnson, those guys, and Ryan McCulloch, a year more mature, and Sheck Fall. So, you see a lot of guys that, that have definitely helped the overall talent level of the defense. But, again, it goes back to, the guys are executing. I think we've played the run pretty well. I think we're just under 100 yards per game in rushing yards against us. I think collectively, I think the guys are doing a good job. I think the coaches did a nice job of identifying people that could come in and be good fits for what we're doing. And then we just have to keep the instruction, and as the season goes, there's more tape, there's more film. So the more they study you, you kind of run out of, you get so many plays against us that eventually, you might end up giving some tells on the tape. So we got to be aware of what we continue to call and how we're presenting it.
So in the summer, you've got sort of mapped out and you've got it on paper what you think you can look like. Has this matched what your expectation was, or exceeded it, or you're only allowing 17 points a game? That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's without really knowing the style of offenses and the talent that we were going to face in the ACC. I couldn't have told you what the number was going to be. I couldn't have told you what the overall health of the team was going to be going through the season. But I thought that we were going to make a significant jump. Really with a couple of guys, the two corners I thought could stay close was Noel and Marcus, which was going to allow us to play some different coverages that I think in the past, we had played, but maybe weren't quite as effective. So it's a lot, I guess, Jeff, into seeing what's going on. there's areas that I would definitely like to improve. You know, we've had some really, really good games on third downs. We've had some games that I think we can do better. So we have to continue to minimize scoring. And I think that's my number one objective as a defensive coordinator, is to minimize scoring. And the secondary objective is to try to take the ball away. So those two things we will continue to emphasize, and hopefully we continue to see the results.
Thanks, Peter.
Any more questions? We'll go back to Matt.
You know, obviously when you go into the offseason and you're putting together a team and you're looking at, you know, especially players in the portal and trying to put things together, there's a bit of an unknown until you get, you know, into the season. As you look at kind of the group you put together and what you've seen from them so far, do you look at this as a success in terms of the portal and what you guys were able to trying to accomplish, I guess, this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll always always let the story play itself out before we reflect on success or failures. But I think what we did do a good job of is we brought guys in that have fit our culture, that have fit with the demands of what Cal Berkeley is, that fits the demands that are in line with what Justin's vision is for this team. So I think that's the most important part. I'd say the most, three most important things when you bring guys in is fit. Obviously you always have to have enough talent to be able to do the job. Guys go out there, they can't be just the most incredible people, but they can't tackle and they can't cover. So we're not oblivious to having the necessary traits. But I think at the collegiate level, and I think at what we're trying to do defensively, I think the cohesiveness, the ability to persevere, I think a lot of those things are very important on how the journey prior to us and what these players are looking for once they get to Cal. And I think, their background, how they got here, why they're here are all big pieces of their story on if they're going to be good fits.
Especially defensively, it feels like you guys have hit on a lot of those guys. How much of a challenge has it been to do that now that you've had, a few years to kind of see this thing play out?
It's extremely hard. It really is. It's, we were talking defensively the other day, and the unknown of who's going to be available, I think is right now probably one of the greatest areas of challenge for us. It's not an NFL model where you understand what free agents are up and whose contracts are expiring, who's going to be available in the market, and you can kind of you can vet those guys and you can project on what's going to happen, especially late in the season if they're not being re-signed by their current program. But the collegiate model, boy, it is the unknown of your own roster, because we obviously don't have, contractual obligations. So that's a significant unknown. Who's going to be available? And then, the extremely abbreviated time to vet these guys. I would probably be dishonest if I didn't say there is going to be a component of, luck and maybe not so much luck, but maybe just listening to your gut intuition. As guys that have recruited for years and years, sometimes we turn a blind eye to things that we know better. But when you get squeezed and you feel like there's not any other options out there, sometimes you end up making some decisions that you probably could reflect on and say, yeah, that probably wasn't the right decision. But with limited surplus, sometimes you end up getting squeezed a little bit. So I think that's where we have to continue to really hold ourselves accountable and I guess do the work as fast as possible in vetting these guys, knowing that you don't know what else is going to be out there and you don't really understand what your current roster is going to do until that happens.
We'll go to Steve Croner from the SF Chronicle.
Morning, Peter. What distinguishes Hank Bachmeyer?
He's got a lot of experience, with Boise, La Tech, and now here. I think he does a good job of running the offense. He can make some throws. I think he has, probably one of his best traits. I think he has pretty good anticipation, throwing the ball over the middle. He can pull that ball out of those, what we refer to as the slow mesh. And I think he's got a lot of moxie. I think he's got confidence in himself. I think he's a tough kid. He's taken some hits, but I think he just keeps on plugging away. And I think some of that resiliency of having some challenges and bouncing around other programs, I think has served him well. And I think he's doing a good job for their offense.